from Real Life. This is Jasmine from RealLife TV. Today, we are celebrating World Humanitarian Day 2021. It is an international UN celebration and which is dedicated to recognize people and those who have lost their lives and sacrificed their work for humanitarian causes. This year, we need to highlight the immediate human cost of the climate crisis by pressuring world leaders to take meaningful climate action for the world's most vulnerable people. The theme is the human race, a global challenge for climate action, people who need it most. So the objective is today's program is to raise awareness and get to know the things as all the younger generation in our country and the world, what we can do for the better life and the sustainable future. So we have a very special speaker today. He's a social entrepreneur and who uses technology for environmental goodness. Hasanka Padukka is a social entrepreneur, as I said, and CEO of the Vibhava Solutions Private Limited and co-founder of Thuru and Zerotrash. Welcome, Hasanka.
Thank you very much for onboarding me for the program.
Yes, Hasanka. So we all are, now we are have done some more programs with RealLife TV. So you have taken some kind of extra step from your corporate experience and become a social entrepreneur. So can you share your background of entrepreneurial journey of Zerotrash and Thuru, and what is your turning point to become a social entrepreneur in your life?
Thank you, Jasmine. It's a great pleasure to connect with you all through this video series, and I'm really delighted to contribute to celebrate this most important day, the World Humanitarian Day. And everything started with teaming up, working with people, identify your true supporters. So in terms of solving a bigger problem, I left my corporate job, teamed up with Hemindra Jayavira, and formulated this Vibhava solution. The Thuru thing started because of many more reasons, but I will name few. Sri Lanka, we are losing our valuable forest cover, our green cover day by day, which leads to many more ecological and climate related issues, problems. So as young people, we need to do something our own to protect, conserve the environment. That's number one. And the number two is like, we were born to this world and we survive, and one day we will leave this earth. The things we do, the things we learn, and the words we spoke will be memorized. So as a human, I have to do my bit, my part, my contribution to safeguard this earth for unborn young generation. So that's why entire Thuru team comes in. Thuru concept came to life with my co-founders. It was an off-seasonal Adams Peak climbing, which generate the idea. And along with my fellow team and the volunteers, we developed an idea in terms of related to reforestation to a massive ecosystem after 5 years. And then in terms of this journey, which was started in 2016, there was a day that I had to take a conscious decision that I sacrificed my corporate life and fully devoted to the achievement of the bigger objective, which is to plant 2 million trees using technology. So that's where I left my corporate job and I started my own organization, which is Vibhava, along with Hemindra Jayavira. And then here we are after few more years. We have completely developed a self-sustaining ecosystem, a model to plant more trees, to reward people, to like facilitate more people to plant more trees. And then also the newest thing we have started was to battle against plastic. So that is Zerotrash is the other program we do. So that's it, Jasmine, about the journey so far so on, leaving the corporate sector.
Yes, I have seen this growth of this both Thuru and the Zerotrash from the beginning itself. So I'm just glad to look it as a living legend that you have developed this social entrepreneurship, right? So it takes a lot of sacrifices, hard time, and a lot of kind of commitments to become this great initiatives to realize and get the benefit of it. And also, so the technology steps that is itself that you have utilized to popularize this plantation, right? Despite of any race or any ethics or any kind of differences in humankind. So you have developed this initiative, right? So that's the most important thing, Hasanka. I'm really proud of you as well as your co-founder, Engineer Hemendra Jayavira. It's one of our social entrepreneurs. So you are initiating with this replantation as well as recycling process. So both can benefit to the environment, right? So that's why the main focus to this theme today, celebrating this World Humanitarian Day 2021, who have taken this climate action. So how do you think about these both initiatives go together?
Jasmine, when it comes to ideas, right? So it was a completely a team effort thing. And like Hemendra, myself, and other co-founders, we came up with the Thuru thing, and then the idea into like then the problem definition, and then the solution definition, and then the MVP, the prototype to MVP, and then testing, and again do repetitive changes, and then go into commercial launch, and then scaling. So that's what we have done for tree planting thing. Basically, what we have done is solving a problem. When you have bigger problems, you need to find like solutions. So Thuru, it happens because of the problem we faced, and what technology plays here is like accelerating, scaling, growing, and make and pass the message to most of the people with a lesser cost, and increase the engagement. So climate change is a buzzword for the day, and we all talk about climate change. We all know that due to the different reasons, the temperature rise, and when the temperature rise, there are many more ecological and other sort of impact to be happen. So then these impact probably cause negative results. So thinking on this, if a person can do some small activities and jointly as a village, as organization, as a nation, as humankind, if we can do that small good thing, and it will accumulate. So the accumulation will result a good solution. So that's what basically it's about, and the Thuru thing, which is we want people to plant more trees. So we promote planting to increase the green cover, not only in Sri Lanka, but also in different countries. As you clearly say, we don't discriminate people. We work with different ages, young people to adults. We work with male and female. We work with different professions. We work with different races, religious people. So that's and especially even we work with marginalized people, disabled people. So it goes beyond it's beyond the normal norms because whoever plant tree plant a hope, because the reason I'm trying to convince you all is there are no any good machine produced to absorb more carbon, to absorb like the heat or to produce oxygen naturally through a natural scenario, to produce more food, to balance the ecosystem. There is no any machine which is greater than a tree. So the machine is there. What we want to is to promote that machine, not only in Sri Lanka, not along in Colombo, but all around Sri Lanka, whatever it is, uh, can be facilitated. You have, of course, not in the primary forest or secondary forest, natural forest area, but other areas in your own home yard, in your backyard, in your apartment, or in your rooftop, roadsides, in your organization. So we need to plant trees. So that basically that's the idea. That's the idea what we built through, and to inculcate that habit, that practice in young people, and to show off their individual and group level contribution through technology. That hey, I did my part, and I just not did my part. I'm just looking what I'm maintaining the tree, and whenever I leave this earth, there is a tree. At least it will go to 30 to 40 years, and it will absorb more carbon, which was a byproduct another sort of spillover because of my existence in this earth. Because we drove vehicles, we consume more energy, we absorb more natural, we burn more fossil fuel. Because of that, we generate more carbon, and the carbon and other sort of gases result the greenhouse gas and effect, and it contributes to heating, to rise the temperature. So when the temperature rise in, then the glacier, the melting, and then the sea level, sea water level rising comes in, and there's a natural flood, sea water flooding, and then earthquakes, and the landslides, and different sort of rainfalls, which leads to flooding. And there are different epidemic going on around the world because of these things. So it's a change. It's a chained activity. If you do good, you will get good results. If you do something bad, and you will get bad results. So by planting trees, there's a huge impact, at least 19% to 20% impact to mitigate climate change.
Thanks for that clarity, as well as the elaboration of this process of your initiative in social entrepreneurship. So not only the single solutions can eliminate all these causes, right? So that's why you have both solutions through Thuru as well as Zerotrash. Thank you very much, Hasanka. After about 120 years, now we have seen there's an increase of the global warming, and some of the countries have faced their increased the temperature for their, especially it's a challenge for their lives as well. So I think, how do you see this kind of present pandemic, especially with this COVID situation as well, and the climate change of the world?
Jasmine, when it comes to temperature, as you clearly said, we are now going to experience and experiencing is one of the highest marked temperature for the last 100 years. Our own activities, we have burned more fossil fuel, and also in terms of different industries, different industry, poultry and other sort of meat industry, there are more massive deforestation and other sort of green gases emission. But let me summarize this. There is a rate which we are like demanded to increase of the temperature, like populated rate. For an example, for 5 years or 10 years, now we have a populated rate of temperature increasing. Now the scientist has calculated that thing. So it will be like 0.9 Celsius per 5 years. But unfortunately, what we are now experiencing is the increase of 0.9 to 1.8 Celsius increment, which is now gone beyond 90% by the expected numbers, which lead us to experience the climate change negative results far like advanced. Suppose something needs to happen on 2050, now it will be happen on 2030 for sure because of the going rate. So climate change is a real thing which is going to happen. Different people, different nation, different organization, as whole the human, we will have to embrace that change. And there are many more natural and disaster needs to be like we anticipate, we have to anticipate, and we have to be ready on how do we take actions to prevent if it is occurred, how to reduce the impact and how to mitigate and how to overcome the challenges, the social, environmental and economical impacts of this climate change. So on this day, the humanitarian days, so it demarks, it defines for the loss of the people who lost their lives during these humanitarian efforts. When it comes to, for an example, when it comes to a wildfire, right? So then the people, the firefighters, sometimes they, even though they go and trying to save people, sometimes they have to, there are enough examples that they got caught into the same fire. When it comes to other sort of natural and man-made disaster, that is the reason people are trying to go and to help will be the ultimate victim. So we do not accept anything bad to happen, but we need to be vulnerable that the more bad things we do, the natural environment will cause more problems to people, not only for people, but also for marine life, to other sort of mammals, to insects and other sort of living beings. So that's the crucial thing needs to be emphasized, not only by individuals or companies. It has to be emphasized by the leaders, the global leaders and the global movements, that we need to be vigilant on what's going to happen, and we need to find solutions and act immediately. We have seen the young people has taken this climate thing, the climate, try to work against the climate action, try to work against the brands, corporates. Hey, the leaders, we need to take action. So that's simply what needs to be done. And always, I believe small act matters a lot. For an example, I'm referring to a thing I saw on social media. There are two ladders. So one ladder, whatever the cross section to keep the legs to climb on. So it has many more space, right? So the distance is very high. When it comes to another ladder, it has a very light, small gaps, but there are many more steps. If you do big things, it will be a very large few steps. But if you do small things, you have to go on small steps. and then only the more you do, then the more you go up. And it is very practical, because even Jasmine, if the corporates decide today itself, we will stop this thing. We need billions of money, resources, capacity, and other resources to stop this. But no one go and no one do that thing. No. So it's always think on about wise leaders, about responsible leaders, and about conscious consumer and producers, corporates, who will change the pattern. So I'm sure the social entrepreneurship module has something big needs to be done on this domain, because the traditional business has capacity, less capacity on solving these environmental, social, and economical issues. But when it comes to our domain, I think we have plenty of things to do, and it was meant to solve climate-related issues, and that consciousness. So I'm glad to be on this session, because people like you, if you take these topics into your consideration, so we can build consciousness, build among people, and then we will build consciousness people to be resilient when there is a natural disaster. So people know what happened and what going to happen, and people know we need to build certain things from the scratch when we were flattened to the ground after these sort of natural and man-made disaster. So I use the term natural and man-made disaster because most of the disasters now happening because of our behaviors.
Exactly, Hasanka. That's why we need more social leaders, social entrepreneurs than corporate leaders or other political leaders who cannot focus, cannot be mindful on this social and environment well-being. Rather, they think about more other benefits, more other personal gains and profit. But as a social entrepreneur, we are focused on the triple bottom line on sustainability. So that's why we wanted to raise this awareness through the RealLife TV, and also engage with many of volunteers and social entrepreneurs like Hasanka. And so what do you think, Hasanka? Do you think that our country has that right awareness at present? And this kind of humanitarian activities and actions for climate change?
I think as a nation, I think we need to inculcate the climate change module into our education system. I'm sure we need to do that immediately. If it is there itself, we need to focus more. That's number
Exactly.
one. And the other one would be the humanitarian work. So I think from the days in the past, we have read a lot that here Sri Lankans has a good habit of supporting people. If you get the temple, village, tank, whatever the set culture, it was enriched, and all these beliefs of supporting others was inculcated. But when it comes to the development, now we are in a cell. We work in a cell which was built upon our luxurious life and our culture, our belief, and other stuff, etc. And now we all are working against the trust to build the wealth, the money, right? That's what we do. So the living is very tough at the moment. So when it comes to supporting others, relative to the old days, now things are not that visible. We were seeing how Sarvodaya built that movements, that voluntary movements were thrived in Sri Lankan culture. But now, day by day, we see some lapse relative to that day. But I believe on good things. I have seen young people went into beaches and cleaning the noodles and other plastic stuff after the the recent marine tragic incidents, disaster. I have seen people go and collect more plastic, more trash. I have seen young people coming and contributing in terms of tree planting. I have seen young people going on charity organizations in terms of supporting. So there are many more multiple good things happening. What we really want to see is like that focus, that commitment, and amplify the good they do. So that's the structure, the government policies, the law, the socio-economic factors needs to be aligned in terms of promoting that volunteerism. For an example, so Sri Lanka, I'm sharing one of my personal experience. I was lucky enough to join for an organization called the Duke of Edinburgh International Award. So it has 3 awards: bronze, silver, and gold. In terms of that, getting that award, you need to do 4 things simply. Okay, one is you have to do a voluntary service. Another one would be you have to develop a skill. And the third one would be you have to do a physical recreation activity. And the fourth one would be you have to go on an adventurous journey, right? So there are 3 stages: bronze, silver, gold. And what you have to do is like you have to do at least, if I summarize, if you have to do 6 months of work for bronze, and it will be 4 sections. And you have to do one year of work to go on to silver and 1.5 years of work to go on gold. It's a completely voluntary based thing. So there's a one section called voluntary service. What we expect from young people is at least go and do social work, voluntary work, such as, you name it. Because of the COVID now, things are the flexibility is there. Even you can go and do knowledge sharing through Zoom, that's fine. Simply, if you do and grow veggies and give it to someone who doesn't have food, that's brilliant, right? So likewise, if you can look after elder people, if you can like promote how to be safe on COVID through internet, that's brilliant. That is service. So we have to adapt things now. Because of the pandemic, there are different mode of engagements in terms of the service. It's not the typical thing you go and plant trees. No, now the various. So likewise, so you have to do that thing. You have to plan that thing before you do, and you have to set your objectives, and then you have to review what you have done, and you have to see what you have been extracted to your own life, and what are the challenges you have faced by doing these things, and how did you overcome those challenges. So that is humanitarian work. How you support for someone else rather than expecting monetary or non-monetary benefits. That's volunteerism. That's humanitarian work. So that's happening in Sri Lanka. So we need to promote these things among young people. And Sri Lanka has many more classic examples. I'm sure. So young people will feel that dignity, that belief, that feeling that we have done something good, not just for ourselves. We have done something good for others. We have done something for our society. We have done something for nature, and we have done something really good.
So that's why we need youth engagement and empower youth further to accept these challenges in the climate change and to mitigate, as you said, and find the solutions and support with their volunteerism for these climate change actions, right? So that's why you have a lot of network of volunteers working for the Thuru and the Zerotrash. Even we would like other volunteers, youth leaders, youth clubs to support Thuru as well as Zerotrash initiatives. It's a great way to work with fashion for climate change. And that's why RealLife Sri Lanka here, we provide awareness, especially to you, to know what is the importance at this moment that we take these kind of initiatives with the social entrepreneurial activities and as a volunteer activities as well. So what is your experience, Hasanka, with this working with the volunteers and some other youth groups, and how can you share your recommendations to the youth and the upcoming generation and the general public to make actions and become a change makers towards a better future?
I think, Jasmine, in terms of volunteers, volunteers are diverse. They have multiple skills and they have multiple working capacities and capabilities. So when it comes to volunteers, what I really believe is like volunteers are volunteers, right? So you can't by force them to do this and that, right? And then what happens with Thuru and Zerotrash is volunteers comes and they absorb from us while supporting us to go on this journey. That's what happens, right? There are different engagement modules, there are structured learnings, there are unstructured learning. So majority is informal education. They see, they feel, they hear, they do what we are trying to do and trying to achieve on longer term. So that's basically about Thuru and Zerotrash. But when it comes to volunteering, if you have that sense and the passion to work for someone, which sometimes might be in a subject area which you're familiar or you're not familiar, so then you'll have the chance to learn from the scratch, from ABC, right? And then you will see their pains and their issues, and then your imagination level will increase, the scope will be increasing. And then what you really want to do is like, if there are problems, still there are problems, so use your brain, your heart, and your hands to solve that problems. So it's about volunteers. So it's completely a feeling will ever last by delivering something really good and serving others. Even if you don't have that feeling, try to start as soon as possible. Now, virtually you can do many more stuff rather than going up beyond the premises due to the COVID thing, but still it's volunteering, right? So it's not about making money, it's about making impact.
At least if they can share this conversation with the real life TV that we are having right now. So if you can share and raise the awareness with other people who have no idea about what is happening and what are the initiatives taken for climate change. There are many initiatives like Hasanka, he has Zerotrash and Thuru. Likewise, there are many other initiatives in this country who are the other social entrepreneurs have taken. So you can even share this knowledge sharing session to raise awareness. That is kind of a volunteerism, likewise. And I think the most important thing is, Hasanka, their own feeling, as you said, right? To have that real intimate happiness of doing some kind of betterment to this world. Their skills and their passion can be different. So likewise, they can find it, and it's like a participant observation. It's like a research when you engage with such a organization, such a kind of an initiative like Thuru and Zerotrash, and it's kind of a ongoing experience for you as a youth. So you can actually develop yourself as well. So that's why we are inviting all the volunteers, right, who are listening today. So you can even join with Thuru and Zerotrash and do some better world for the upcoming generations, giving some kind of solutions to the climate change and these humanitarian solutions as we are celebrating it today. So what is your final inspirational message, Hasanka, to the youth, the people, to celebrate this special day?
Right. So today's day is the most important thing is like the commitment. The word commitment for climate change. So humanitarian work is a superb commitment, going extra mile to support someone else. And that commitment towards preserving this planet is that the work you do against climate change. So think on how good as an individual, as a school, as a student, as a professional person, or even unemployed person, or someone who stayed at home due to the COVID. Think on how good you will fit into this framework and do your bit, because we have billions of people. And in Sri Lanka, we have 21.7 approximately, and I think the world, few billions, 7 point or 4 point something like that. You might refer Google on terms of actual number, but we have billions of people, but billions of people not committing each other to make this world a better place. You are always thinking on that commitment has to be happen from someone else. No, it has to happen from your end. Unless you do it, no one else will do that commitment. So think on that perspective. Do your bit first, and then ask others to do it. So that's the simple message I can give you on to this session.
So we are in a blessed green country. So whatever happened, despite of any other youth kind of discriminations, whatever the human race, religion, whatever other discrimination, so you have to focus on what you can do as a young person, as your role to protect the environment and support these humanitarian activities for the better future and the sustainable future. So thank you, Hasanka, sharing your insights and valuable experience with your social activities and social entrepreneurial activities in your Zerotrash as well as Thuru journey. So wish you all the best in your future initiatives, and I'm really glad that you have your trash collection center is Boralesgamuwa, and it's located in Boralesgamuwa. We will put in our description in this video, so you can find the location, and if you have anything to recycle and support this initiative, you can drop out your trash and whatever the things that we can do for recycling process. Thank you very much, Hasanka, for sharing your experience with us today.
Thank you very much, Jasmine and the RealLife team. So giving me this opportunity in terms of to share my experience, basically the experience on what I do and how I feel and what I am going to do in terms of my bit to save this environment on this special day. And I humbly request all of you to support and share this because sharing this in your platform, this video does not cost rupees. It's just a matter of a commitment. That's it.
Volunteering. Volunteerism. Yes. Thank you, Hasanka. And we wish you all very good life. Thank you. We'll meet you another day with another topic. Until then, stay safe, stay blessed.